How long have you guys been a business for now?
The location there, it'll be 4 years in
4
November.
years.
Yeah.
I know you've obviously been doing it quite a bit longer than that, but you've had the
like
the
process
formal
canine is 4 years. Yeah.
Cool. What have you learned the most in those 4 years?
That's why.
There it is.
There
Okay.
we are.
Hang on.
I like opened my mouth to talk and heard nothing.
I know.
I was like,
And I heard it
Yeah.
there.
It freaks you out, right? And you're like, what?
it's so peaceful in these headphones.
It is really nice.
It's
Like,
so
it's
much
here.
so nice.
I did a
Here.
podcast a couple weeks ago and we didn't have headphones, and I was just like, "This is weird.
Yeah.
How do I know this
Everything's
is
so
working?"
busy. Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, what have you learned
so much.
the most in the last 4 years?
I think what I'm always still learning is trusting, like as far as like running the business side of things, like that a lot of times my employees will do things better than I do. And like as I found
That's
that
a good
out,
one.
I'm like, oh my God, this is great. Like, you know, they like
It's shocking initially,
yes.
right? And like
it's
there's a part of
amazing.
you that's like, God, like really? But like once you accept that and you can understand that there are people that could do this job just as good as you can, it's a game. It is a game
it's
changer.
amazing. And I'm almost like, you know, even like with clients, like the patience and like, you know, somebody else who wants to work in my business better than I would, especially with things. So learning that and now like moving those types of things around is good. As far as training, like I'm always still working on perfecting, like working with clients and in our systems, especially like we're not nearly as like proficient and refined as you guys, for example, like in terms of like, it feels
we
like
market
it.
ourselves that way,
No,
but
it's
like
beautiful.
that's something like I'm constantly working on
Yeah.
as well.
So yeah, just like figuring those things out. I would say learning how to use my staff to do things that I would think I had to do or somebody else couldn't do.
Yeah.
Would be my biggest.
That's a really great one.
This guy. Okay.
Here we are.
We were talking so nicely about your
We
computer.
jinxed it.
Yeah. But like, you know, he was just like, I have to like touch every dog and like, I got to make sure you guys are doing it right.
Yeah.
You know? And he finally loosened up and like,
Yeah.
I've seen like, he sees that everyone like knows what the hell
Yeah.
they're doing. And it's taken a lot of pressure off of him, you know, like
Big time. Yeah.
Yeah, because watching this guy like run around
Yeah.
like a chicken with his head cut off. Dude,
Yeah.
because he was like, I have to do it all, like, you know, like like I'm teaching you guys, but I got to do this, and then it was finally like, all right,
You
they
got
can
it.
take care of it. Yeah,
And I'm sure you feel this also. And I'm sure you to some extent, but like being like the owner, right? Like you feel such a deep responsibility to the people that are paying you money to make sure that they get their money's worth out of things.
Yes.
yeah,
You know?
100%.
And you could stress yourself out too much about it sometimes, you know, and feel like, again, like, oh my God, like they have these expectations and they're just not going to get met unless I make sure that they get met, you know, as opposed to realize, again, especially in this industry, it is such a fulfilling, rewarding industry that the people that are involved in it, as long as you treat them right and give them support, they're going to want to provide that same thing for them.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh my God. Like, especially when, like, as far as training goes, like, because for a while it was like Kate and I would put the work on the board and trains like during the day and I was doing all the lessons. That still happens.
Sure.
But as soon as Kate started getting exposed more to the clients, it was like a game changer. And like,
yeah.
oh my God, like, you know, you just kind of, so that was an important learning thing for me of like, oh my gosh, it just changes. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah. Mine for me has always been just letting people help you more also, you know, like finding places to admit when you don't know all the answers to stuff, you know, and like I said, like there are times that I lean on the team.
Oh,
yep. What are you doing, dude?
I just
Hit your knee.
Yep.
Funny bone.
Not funny.
Not funny. But there's times, you know, like I'll lean on the team to help support me when I'm stressed out. You know, like they'll carry some of the extra load and stuff like that, and they'll make sure stuff gets done, or they'll step in when they see that there's holes where they need to be stepped in and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We just have such a great team because of it. And it's funny, like going to the people that can do you know your job better than you can. It was funny. I remember a couple of times in particular on the phone with people, and they're like, oh, you know, I'm going to be filling in on a lesson or this or that or whatever it may be. And I've had a couple of people tell me, well, I wanted to work with Bridget or I wanted to work with this person. And I'm just like, Really?
Yeah. I'm like, okay. That just happened, actually. Someone emailed and was like, can I set up a lesson? Like, it was with me or something, and they want to work with Kate. I was like, okay. Like,
oh, yeah. When I called them, they're like, is this Amanda? And I'm like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
It's Kate. And they're like, well, who's Kate?
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you about myself.
Yeah, it's flattering, but then like I'll have a little ego check. I'm like, oh, okay, that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
100%.
No, it's I love that. Like, or when someone calls process and I pick up the phone and they'll be like asking for another member of my staff. They'll be like, well, I was talking to so and so. I'm like, okay, like
Cool.
there you go.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
That's how you start. This goes to the podcast we had with Alex, where we start talking about though, like it's not, it can't be all about you when you're running a business.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
when you're running a company, your job should be to make yourself basically irrelevant.
Yeah.
You know, and you be there to. You said at the very beginning, which really resonated with me because it's something I've been trying to work on quite a bit. But my job is to support my staff, right? It's my staff's job to support our clients.
Yeah.
Right. Not my job to do both of those
well
things.
said.
You know.
Yeah,
cool.
when I was down with Tyler Muto, where I like saw a lot of this, he said like he wanted to get his business to a place where he was just there kind of coaching. And I was like, oh yeah, like that, you know what I mean? Like, or time spent on the business versus in the business and those types of things. So
he's really helped me with that quite a bit, especially lately. There's been a couple of times in the last like year I've reached out to him for a little bit of guidance for stuff. And, you know, cause he's what did he tell me the other day? He's like, yeah, I'm like basically the closest thing to being retired without actually being retired at this point. But like, you know, like it's he's like that is the goal. He's like having a company, he's like is something that should be able to operate independently without you.
Yeah.
Right. And in this industry, it's hard because you got to balance the making sure you're giving the support that you need to and making sure you're not rushing it or taking steps to decrease the service that you're offering or anything like that to get to that goal. But that still should kind of be like the North Star at the end of the day. Yeah. So
I have a question about that. So in terms of like employees, like having employees, like how do you kind of instill in them like your ultimate goals for your business and like you want them to be, you know, self-motivated by your same goals, kind of like you want to make sure that they are also going that same direction, but things might be more motivating to you because that's your vision for your business and you kind of want them to take on that vision, I guess.
And again, I don't have all of the answers to this, but I would say that what I've noticed have been the biggest motivators for the staff is giving more control, right? When they feel like they're in more of a position to make decisions and more of a position to make adjustments to things and be able to really do things the way they want to do things, they will have more pride in that work. Yeah. Right? Even stuff as simple as when I first started having trainers working for me, it was very much, no, you have to do it this way, right? This is the program, right? And we still have a general program that should be followed to some extent because there are things that have to go a certain way, but everybody has their own flair at this point. You know, everybody has their own individual things they like teaching their clients or teaching the dogs or certain ways that they go about doing different things, you know? And it took me a little while to be okay with that. But as I've been more okay with that, I think that has really helped to increase everybody's drive to do so. And then you said, you know, culture is really important, right? Like this is something that we constantly are up and down with. Figuring out and trying to find the right recipe of it is inter-staff relations is so important. People need to like coming to work and like the people they're working with and be able to feel like they truly are a team working towards the same goal. So everybody has to be aligned. If you have one person in that, you know, a wheel, right, that is not directly aligned to the goals that everybody else is at, it will derail everything.
Interesting.
Right. And that's been the hardest part for me is, like I said, getting all of those things figured out and putting the right people in the right place. I read a book somewhat recently, last 6 months, called Good to Great. Fantastic book. Kind of, it breaks down two different types of companies that in the long term, like over the course of, I think they said 10 to 15 years, succeeded, and ones that were very, very successful and like basically their competitor and like looked like they were going to succeed, but only succeeded for like maybe 5 years or something. And they broke down the differences between all of them and then categorized it into chapters. And one of the chapters was before anything else, put the right people on the bus, right? So by having the right type of people with the right mindset, the right growth mindset and driven mindset, he's like, before you even worry about what they're doing, as long as you have the right people there, you know that those people are going to help drive that company and build that company to be more successful over time. And that's, I mean, you could just tell talking to you guys how great of a relationship you two have, right?
Thank you.
And
I was gonna say,
and I would assume from what I've heard, it's very much like Kate that came in with Watson, right?
Katie, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, and Katie's, I believe, girlfriend works for you still. Or
Her
did work
wife,
for
yeah,
you?
Kristen works for us. Yeah.
You know, you could tell how much she respects what you guys do and stuff, right? And it's one of those things where
awesome.
when you have that relationship and you have that culture and you have that responsibility put on people and stuff, and then you tack on another big thing has been, you know, for me, employee retention is everything. So I've really tried in the last 2 years, especially with everything going on in the economy right now, is to continue making this job the most difficult job to leave, if possible.
Yeah,
you know?
I tell my staff, like, I'll just like, people will be like, oh, you've had this person for a while. I'm like, I forbid anyone to leave. So
yeah, I mean, that's the goal, because you know how you are. Don't apologize.
Yeah, we'll start hitting her. Like, you'll just reach across.
Don't do that. We won't do that. But you know, like she knows, you know, like how important of an employee you are, right? I know how important my staff is, and I can't afford to lose any of them, right? So in order to make sure that I don't lose them, I have to make sure that they feel fairly compensated with benefits, with pay structures, with you know, other perks and stuff that are involved with the business and stuff like that. So it's everything, you know. But I think all of those things combined create somebody that wants to grow with the company.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And not being, there are other companies that I'll see that get very stagnant of, okay, cool, this is what we do, and it's not really going to go anywhere else from this, right? Like, I have a growth mindset. Like, I want to grow bigger and better and continue doing cooler things, right? So I think that North Star of mine helps people be excited about, like, we're still trying to change and better things. We're never complacent and stagnant with where we're at.